Hey guys, Gradius here, and this is a video for equations with word problems. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be solving word problems that involve us writing an equation from the word problem and then solving that equation itself. So the big thing is that we have to be able to read a word problem, identify what our equation is, and then go from there. Okay, so here are the steps though that we need to follow when we're faced with word problems. Okay, we first step, most important thing, you guys, is just relax. Okay, yeah, it's a word problem. We know we don't like word problems, but relax. Okay, it's really important that we do that. Okay, if we start stressing out, we're automatically setting ourselves up to fail. Okay, read the entire problem before you do anything. So relax and read the whole problem before you even start thinking about anything else. Once you do that, I do want you guys to go ahead and underline or highlight, whichever you prefer. You can underline or highlight, doesn't matter, key terms that identify with operations in math, and then write the operation above the term. Okay, so I'll show an example of that when we start doing some problems. And then also underline each number you need to answer the question, so we need to do a little bit more underlining, and then finally write the equation and then solve. Okay, so that's it. So make sure you get all these steps down in your notes. Okay, just some basic key terms that you need to know for each operation. This is not all of the terms. These are just the basics and the commonly used ones. This will not, sometimes you will have to find other words or terms or phrases that describe these operations, but these are just, like I said, the basics that we've seen before. So if you see add, plus, or more, that's normally going to symbolize addition, subtraction. You're going to use these words for division, quotient. If you split something, if you divide something, that is a division problem. And if you see the words multiply, times, or the word per, that is symbol for multiplication. So let's get those words down as well. So here we go. I have a word problem here. Jared gets paid $20 plus $10 an hour for tutoring. He was paid $100. How many hours did he work? So I want to know how many hours Jared works. Okay, so that's my unknown right there. Okay, so we read the whole problem, and I'm trying to think about what's happening in this problem. We know Jared's getting paid. He gets paid up front, $20, plus he makes an additional $10 per hour, or $10 an hour. He made $100, so we were trying to figure out how many hours he worked. Okay, so Jared gets paid $20 plus. So this word plus right here, this is an important word. Okay, so I'm going to highlight plus. Okay, I'm going to write a plus sign because that's what that is. That looks like a multiplication sign. So why don't we fix that a little bit? There we go. Plus $10 an hour. $10 an hour, and we don't know how many hours Jared spent his money on. We don't know how many hours Jared worked. I'm sorry. So this an hour right here, we don't know this. So this is going to be my variable right here. So I'm going to use the variable y. Okay. This is my variable y. So that is my unknown. I'm not exactly sure how many hours he works. And then finally, I need to figure out, is there an operation between this $10 for every hour? So $10 per hour, $10 an hour. This right here is multiplication. Okay, so this would be multiplication. I'm going to put a dot right here for multiplication instead of a multiplication symbol, just so I don't get confused. Jared gets paid $20 plus $10. So if I'm interpreting this into an equation, I'm going to just write what I have. I have $20 plus $10 per hour, $10 times y. So $20 up front plus $10 per hour. We don't know how many hours that he works. Okay, and we know how much money he makes in total. He makes total $100. Okay, so this would be another key number right here. And then now I want to figure out how many hours he works, which is this y attached to my 10. Now from here, here's my equation that comes from this word problem. Now I can solve. I can subtract 20 from both sides because those cancel. I'm left with 10y equals 80. Divide by y. Divide by 10, I'm sorry guys. Divide by 10 to get y by itself. And I get y equals 80 divided by 10, which is 8. So that means Jared worked 8 hours. Okay, let's look at another one. For 10 weeks, John put the same amount of money in a jar every week. Okay, so 10 weeks, John put the same amount of money in a jar every week. He then took out $15 to buy a new hat. He has $45 left in the jar. How much did he put in the jar each week? So for 10 weeks, so we know 10 is probably something important here, so I'm going to underline that. John put the same amount of money in a jar every week. He then took out $15. So I think that's going to be minus. If you take something out, normally you're subtracting it to buy a new hat. He has $45 left in the jar. How much money did he put in the jar each week? So for 10 weeks, John is putting the same amount of money in a jar every week, and we don't know how much money he's putting in the jar. So this same amount of money, the amount of money that he's putting in the jar, that's my variable. I'm going to use M for money. So for 10 weeks, so 10 different times, he is putting money in a jar, same amount of money. So however much money that is. So that's 10 times M. The reason why it's multiplication is this happens 10 different times. Okay? He then takes out $15. So it would be 10 times M minus 15, taking out a subtraction, and he takes out $15 from the jar. And he has left $45. 10M minus 15 equals 45. This is my equation where M is the amount of money he puts in the jar each week. And then now from here, I can go ahead and try to solve this equation. I can add 15 to both sides. These cancel. I'm left with 10M equals 60 divided by 10 on both sides to get my variable by itself. The amount of money he puts in the jar each week, 60 divided by 10 is 6. So that means he's putting $6 in his money jar each week, and then he takes out $15 to have $45 left. Let's look at another one. Emily makes two times as much money as Jordan plus an additional $20. Jordan makes $55. How much money does Emily make? So we know how much money Jordan makes. We're trying to figure out how much money Emily makes. Okay? Emily makes 2 times as much money as Jordan. Okay? Emily makes 2 times as much money as Jordan. Okay? Jordan makes $55 plus an additional $20. So Emily makes 2 times as much money as Jordan. Well, Jordan makes $55 right here. So I have 2 times however much money Jordan makes. Well, that'd be 2 times 55. Plus an additional, so here's my addition right here. 2 times, this is my multiplication, an additional $20. How much money does Emily make? And that's going to equal however much money Emily makes. So this one, this isn't really an equation. This is more of an expression. Okay? So this one's not even going to be an equation. This is more of an expression, which is going to happen. Okay? I don't have a variable right here, right? I know I have 2 times 55, 2 times as much money as Jordan makes. Jordan makes $55. So I need to take 2, multiply it by 55, and then add an additional $20. 2 times 55 is 110, plus 20 is 130. So Emily makes $130. Okay, one more. James's high score in Flappy Bird is 7 less than half of the amount of John's high score. John's high score is 72. What is James's high score? So, James' high score in Flappy Bird. I have 7 right here. That's an important number. Less than half. So I'm going to need to underline this. Less than half of the amount of John's high score. So if it's 7 less than half of the amount of John's high score, I need to take John's high score and figure out what half of it is. When you want to figure out half, you can divide it by 2. So I'm taking John's score, dividing it by 2. Okay, and then I can take 7 less than that. So I'm going to take John's score divided by 2 and then subtract 7 from it to get 7 less than half of the amount of John's high score. And this is going to give me James's high score. Okay, so we know John's high score is 72. So what I can do is I can actually take this for John's high score right here. I can take this and plug in a 72. So I'm taking 72, John's high score, dividing it by 2. and subtracting 7 from there. And that's going to give me James's score. 72 divided by 2, this is 36, minus 7 is 29. So that means John's high score is 29. Okay? So sometimes when you guys are writing equations or you're looking at word problems, sometimes you're going to get an equation. Okay? Sometimes you'll get an equation. Sometimes you will also get an expression where you actually don't have to solve for a variable. The biggest thing, though, is that we identify what's happening in the problem, and we identify what the question is, and then we find a way to answer it. Okay, so look for the key terms, and then figure out what operation those show. Figure out what's happening within the problem and within the situation, and then we need to write out that expression or that equation and then solve. I hope this video helped you guys. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, and good luck.